That's right, folks. Once again, brought to you by Equity CMG Studios. We got my man Andre in the building. He actually is one of several partners in the haunted house restaurant. Is that?
Yes, sir. That's correct, Rick.
I thought I was going to drop the ball on that.
No, you got it. You got it.
So my man walked in, and I was watching the Jada Kiss freestyle because I just like the energy when they had the verses and all that stuff.
Right.
And we just started. Honestly, spiraling on a lot of different topics. Like he's got sons that are in the business, and these are the stories that we want to bring to light. So the biggest thing I'll let you start with is what got you. Obviously, you didn't start in the haunted restaurant space, and you've obviously learned a lot from that. But what got you into that space, and take us through A to Z, like how you got here.
I think at back in 2010, I decided I wanted to leave the normal workforce world and start entrepreneurship. So I started a company with a couple guys, Alexander John, who's a major big time artist out here. He's doing a lot of stuff with Puma, Kelton Crenshaw, and then my everybody knows OG Vegas Jones, which is also Emory Jones, Jay-Z's right hand guy.
Oh yeah.
So I started a company called PMK Customs, which we did custom sneakers. We did
shit.
a shoe called the Brooklyn Zoo for Jay-Z. He wore it the first game at the Barclays Center when Jay-Z was the owner there.
Wow.
And it went crazy. We did some stuff with Beyonce. So that took us spiraled up to doing stuff with Puma and New Balance and stuff like that. So that's when I really got into that entrepreneurship world and gained a lot of knowledge being with Vegas Jones. You know what I'm saying? Emory's a star out here. Like, he's amazing. And from there, I still have my brothers that I do my stuff with now, which is Jeremiah and Chris. We do we do real estate. That's really what we mainly do before we do anything else. We do we buy houses, flip them, and then some of the ones we do for first time buyers and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then I also dabbled into the sports world. So I have 3 guys that I manage.
No shit.
James Wiseman, Alizé Johnson, and DeAnthony Melton. They're all in the NBA right now.
Okay.
So I do not the agency part, but I do management part, like do the behind the scenes stuff, marketing, things of that nature for them. So that's what kind of just led into the whole entrepreneurship world for real.
Right. So you were doing shoes, like kind of like was it like the airbrush stuff?
No, it wasn't the airbrush. We took it to that's what JB Custom stuff was doing. We did it where we had a company out in New York that we would take they would take the whole shoe apart.
Okay.
And we would rebuild it with animal skin, exotic skin. So we sell our shoes for like $3,200.
Got it.
So like the Brooklyn Zoo had 9 different animal skins on it, from shark to eel to a whale, all kind of stuff. Like you gotta look that shoe up, called the Brooklyn Zoo. It was a Nike Jordan 1. So we would just take the sole and they would rebuild everything back using the same everything, but with animal skins.
Wow. That is
So
genius.
we was doing a lot of stuff before Balenciagas and everything came back around. We were doing a lot of stuff, but when they came back around, of course, they price point. I just go right buy some Valentino's, Balenciagas, or whatever, instead of paying $1,800 to $2,000, $3,000 for our shoes. But at one point in time, they're one-on-one. So these celebrities were buying shoes that nobody else can get.
Right, and that's the essence of entrepreneurship.
That's the unique part of it.
Filling the gap, but before it even happened. And
correct.
What years were this?
This was 2000. Our run was really between 2011 to 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that early 2010 run, that early 2010s.
Oh yeah, that's a good run. I think I was on that 2010. I was supposed to go on that Rock Nation tour with Wale, J. Cole. I think that was 2010.
Might have been, because tours, that's when he did that. Then he took a break for a while. Then he came and did his Magna Carta Holy Grail one, right around that 2014, 15 time frame.
Yeah, yep. That sounds about right, because then I think that was he came for, I think it was Obama's election.
Yep, was it CSU?
Yeah, that was CSU.
Yep.
And at the time, I was working on the campaign. Not to talk about politics, but I was working on the campaign.
Yeah, that was a good election for our culture, for real.
Yeah. I think so too, because when I look at my old man, African American, Southside Chicago, got a PhD in accounting, extremely intelligent guy, wrote programs for investment like sizable banks like KeyBank.
Yes, sir.
But back then there was barriers to entry, predominantly because of what you look like. But the focus again on what we're doing here is really just telling people Obama kind of really shattered any type of.
You can break down doors or barriers,
Yeah.
You can open it all the way up. If he can do it now, he just gave hope for everybody.
Right. Yeah, and that's the part where, regardless of, I think that politics, like a lot of us, operating in the private sector. I mean, that was, to me, was super inspirational, and I was down there at the conventions. I think actually that may have been at the Q because
he came. It might have been at the Q.
Yeah,
he came for a concert at the convention center at the CSU Wolstein, but I think it might have been at the Q when he did the thing for Obama.
Right. So Jay-Z's buying your shit, and I'm sure, everybody in New York, as long as I worked in music and entertainment, follows Hov.
Oh yeah. So as soon as Jay-Z, well, of course, Jay-Z ain't buying nothing when it comes to that. We gifted it to him because Emery's his right hand guy. Emery. Yeah. Everybody knows the story of where Emery came from. But Emery had the opportunity to gift him the shoe, and once we did that, we just went trajectory went straight up. It took off. We was on the Breakfast Club. We was on all kind of stuff. Did Life and Times, the Jay-Z
my
thing.
Guy Envy.
Yeah,
DJ Envy's my man from way back in the day.
Yeah, he cool dude. And ever since then, it took off, and then it just like I said, it just ran its course. As fashion does, it runs its course, and then from there, everybody kind of. Emery is still with Puma. Kelton is doing stuff with he's a football agent with Clutch now.
Yeah.
Alexander John is doing, he's a celebrity sneaker artist doing stuff with Puma, and I'm doing stuff with athletes and restaurants now. So everybody got their own lane and kind of branched off from there.
And that's, again, that's kind of part of
it's about.
Yeah, the path that you go. So you got through the shoes. You said that kind of, I'm not going to say died out because it sounds like you're still kind of doing it, but what you're saying is the premium brands kind of picked up what you were doing.
Yeah, and then just catered at a lower price point because they can mass produce it. But at the same time, we wasn't looking to mass produce. We were looking to create 101, the special shoe.
Right.
If Rick wanted a shoe for his mortgage company, we creating, you want all eel or whatever, all white eel. We doing all white eel shoe for you. So nobody else has that shoe that Rick has. So that's what we was able to create for everybody. So, Meek Mills, Tristan Thompson, we did. Back when LeBron was in Miami for the finals, we did all his shoes for the whole finals.
Man.
So, yeah.
I was catching them checks down.
We was doing well back then. So, and now, like I said, we're into the real estate, athletic, marketing, and then the big thing right now is the Hunter House restaurant. It's something it's almost like a dream come true to create something like this that everybody can come to and just be themselves and just bring everybody together, no matter your color, no matter your religion, no matter what. It's just something, a restaurant that everybody just come to and have an experience. Right.
So you get out, you said about 2015, 2016 is kind of when the shoe things fizzle out.
Yeah.
What did you do after that point to get to the restaurant piece?
We had XL, my partner Jeremiah. We did some stuff with downtown the XL Executive Lounge.
Okay,
it was downtown on Prospect. And then also had the like a sports bar lounge called Stats. So we still was in that kind of field of doing food, beverage and food, but not a full service restaurant. And then also during that main time, we really started the whole thing with our real estate part of things of that nature. So we really was focused on just killing the game of real estate right then.
The funny thing is as many celebrity, whoever we bring in here, it almost inevitably it goes right back to real estate. They either own real estate or got into flips or old multifamilies in that space. But
I always tell people, Jeremiah is one to attest this, and he always says this, man. It's one field that I feel like nothing is guaranteed, but it's almost a safe bet. So you get a house, buy a house, put your insurance on it. Something goes wrong or whatever, you at least get your money back.
Right.
But if you do it the right way, you're going to sell this house. At some point in time, you're going to sell it. So it's one of those investments that you say nothing is guaranteed, but knock on wood, we haven't had a bad one yet when it comes to real estate.
Yeah, and real estate is real time, so a lot of people think that, to your point, there's a lot of leeway there for you to fuck up pretty bad. Mm-hmm. It's no different with the mortgage business. There's plenty of margin in there to learn, how much staff do I need versus not need, et cetera, et cetera. But so again, the connective tissue always seems to be real estate, which obviously that's what we do for a living in the mortgage space, but. So we get out of the shoe game, get kind of more into real estate, and what kind of made you all conjure up this? And again, I was telling Andre before we even came on here, I was like, my cousin who's from Kentucky was texting me about your restaurant.
Yeah.
And it's not like you guys are like pushing out mass amounts of marketing. It's just the whole concept, I guess, of what you're doing. So how did you get to that point where you're like, hey, let's try this idea? Or, you know, when did you have that light bulb moment to say, let's try this haunted house idea?
So during the pandemic, a lot of wheels got to turning because you didn't, real estate, flipping houses, that didn't, Home Depot always stayed open. So was able to continue to do that. But when you come home at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, when you're done, your wheels are automatically just turning. So at that time, we came together like, what are we going to do? Like, when this thing ain't going to last forever.
Right.
And we was like, well, let's get a full-service restaurant. With Jeremiah was like, well, we can't get a full-service restaurant without a concept. So I'm like, shit, you're right, because we can't just go in and just put a restaurant there, burgers or steaks or whatever. You have so many of those out here now, and they're struggling right now to survive through the pandemic.
And I'm glad you said they're struggling, because the net, what's the average net income that you can make on a restaurant? I mean, it's like 2 to 4%.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're struggling. So it's like we can't just come in with a basic. Things are closing down right now during the pandemic, especially restaurants. People are just doing DoorDash and Uber Eats.
Right.
So a lot of people telling us like, y'all crazy. Y'all don't make no sense to even think about doing a restaurant. But as entrepreneurs, it
takes a lot of balls.
It's all about gamble. It's all about being humble. It's all about making the smart strategic moves.
Right.
And we came across a location. Me being in Cleveland Heights, I've been in Cleveland Heights for a while. I coached at Cleveland Heights basketball with J.R. Bremer.
Oh, okay. Back in the day, I went to Chanel, and we played against Bremer a lot. I think we were actually trying to recruit him to Chanel.
Oh, yeah. Bremer's a bucket.
Yeah.
He still is a bucket. But, he's a great coach now. So I've been there with him. Been in Heights for 7 years. So we got the old Melt was closing. The Melt is right there on Cedar and South Taylor, right on the corner.
Yeah.
And being a diverse community like Cleveland Heights, we reached out to the landlord, and it was intrigued about our idea of just creating a restaurant there. They didn't know nothing about the Hunter House restaurant. So I reached out to Jeremiah and Chris and said, hey, I think we got our location. Jeremiah was like, all right, cool. Before we sign anything, before we have any kind of negotiation talks, what we putting in there? I said, shit, I don't know. A restaurant. He's like, no, we ain't doing that. So I called my god brother, who's DJ Ryan Wolf, official DJ for the Cleveland Browns.
Big up to Ryan Wolf, fellow. He's a DJ. He's a heavy hitter DJ.
Yep.
My man Feezy. I was telling Andre, we grew up together in the hustle of DJing. But big up to the heavy hitters.
So that's my god brother, and I know he's reason why I put his name out there all the time is because he has a gift from God that you really can be like, Ryan, I want to do this, this, and this, and he give me a second. I'm gonna come up with something. He gonna call you back or text you like, boom, boom. This is what it should be. I call Ryan and say, hey, we got this building on South Taylor and Cedar, the Old Melt, Cleveland Heights. Beautiful building. What we going to do? He said, call you in 15 minutes. Literally within 15 minutes, he called back and said, we're going to call it the Hunter House Restaurant. And this is the concept that we're going to roll. And we're going to call it that. Said, why are we calling it the Hunter House Restaurant? He said, because you're driving down Cedar, South Taylor in July, you look up and you see the Hunter House Restaurant. You're like, what the fuck is this? Like, what's going on? You want to go in there and see what it is. It's automatically going to draw you in there because it's not October. So ain't no Hunter House should be open right now. But when you go in there, he's like, when you go in there, you're going to be paying homage back to all the scary movies we grew up on. The Freddy Krueger, the Jason, the Friday the 13th, the Michael Myers, and things of that nature. So we're going to make it like a movie theater when you walk in. Which
is a massive, that's a massive market that nobody is thinking. And
tapped
again,
into
that's entrepreneurship. You guys had the shoe idea. Nobody was touching it. Now all of a sudden everybody wants to do it. But now you have this idea that nobody's doing.
Nobody's doing it. And when he brought it up, I called Jeremiah and Chris. So Ryan, I'll call you back. Jeremiah said, hit up the landlord, let's talk. And ever since then, it's been history. What Ryan envisioned is what we executed. And the execution to this day has been successful to the point now it's time to open up some more.
Yeah. And you mentioned, so you lead into the next point. With restaurants, again, there's only so much margin in there. Like, what's the next step? Obviously, with you're already trying to franchise. Genius idea, and you've only been in business for a year. That's how McDonald's spiraled and all that stuff. And I think this is more of a niche product than a McDonald's, to where I don't think you would want to put it everywhere. But
original.
The originality of it and taking it and franchising it, I think, is a genius idea.
Right.
How do you do that and keep, like, for instance, you mentioned Melt, and I think, the kid that started Melt was from Lakewood or something like
Matt
that.
Fish. Matt's from Lakewood.
Great idea. Again, you mentioned the restaurant business being really competitive and tough. how do you do the research, or how do you start from some Cleveland Heights to some of the other locations that you mentioned, like Orlando, Vegas? Like, how in-depth research do you have to do, or like what do you go with your gut, or is it kind of like a combination of everything?
I mean, it's a combination of everything. It's a combination. It's some prayer involved into it. Because one thing we all are strong in faith.
Yes, amen to that. Me too.
But at the same time, like, I don't want to sound like a conceited person. In all humbleness, I say this: you can pick our restaurant up and drop it in Wichita, Kansas, and it's going to be successful because it's nothing like it.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's nothing like it out here. So really, you can really pick our four walls up and put it anywhere. But I feel like places like Orlando and Vegas are tourist places. They love Halloween. And if you look at the demographics that's coming in, you look at all the tourists that's coming in, you get the tourists and you still have the locals that's still coming in, going to the parks during the daytime and nighttime. Anytime you ever go to Orlando on I-Drive, I don't care if it's Fridays, Applebee's, or whatever, right, those restaurants are booming Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
So you put a restaurant like ours with a concept and an experience and something that's catchy in these cities, I think it's a no-brainer. You just got to make sure you find the right location at the same time, because Orlando's so big, you want to go on I-Drive.
Yeah, Orlando's a big. I mean, we're down there for real estate events. Tampa and Orlando and Miami, we're always down there going to real estate events. And I agree that, especially in those markets, it's really like focused in on like vicinity and like where you're at and all that good stuff. But like I said, I think it's a genius idea, because I mean, and that's kind of Town Hall did the same idea, where they just said, we're going to stick to just this, and we don't give a shit what anybody else has to say.
And created that.
Yeah, and created that. I think your location used to be a reggae nightclub back in the day, if I'm not mistaken.
It used to be Peabody's at the same time. It used to be Peabody's and Platinum Dream.
Okay, maybe it was Platinum Dream.
Platinum Dream, definitely. You could be able to go and look downstairs through the opening gap, and everybody comes in has been there. Before it was the Melton Hunter House restaurant, they'd be like, "This used to be the Platinum Dream. Right here is where you used to be able to look down and see the band playing and stuff like that." And, I'm like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, that's where it's at."
Yeah, I do remember.
I don't remember. I never came in there, but yeah, that's where it was at. But they come in there all the time talking that.
Yeah.
So it definitely was a Platinum Dream, what it's known for. But now it's covered up. The basement is like our office and coolers and stuff like that now.
Yeah, I do. I forgot about the whole you used to look down part, but then you mentioned it, and I was like, oh, yeah, I do remember that. So, franchising, obviously, is the next goal. Is there any other ideas that you guys are kind of coming up with to kind of, like, I guess, further expand your brand? Because the biggest problem, again, sometimes is you can spend endless amounts of money on, like, marketing dollars, for instance. Mm-hmm. But how do you create something that will organically drive people in? Like, is there an event you're going to start doing or anything like that? Or
yeah, I think, outside of our normal day in and day out trivia and stuff that we do, we're going to create an event actually coming up soon, Rick, in October.
Okay.
Halloween makes sense, right?
Yeah.
October 29th, we're going to do the biggest damn Halloween party seen in Cleveland.
Right.
It's going to be at the IX Center.
Right.
And I think that's going to drop the miles. It's going to not just going to be a DJ and dancing. It's going to be a fest.
Right.
It's going to be bands
like
there. It's going to be a festival.
I think that's genius.
A scary horror festival. We haven't quite came up with the catchy name.
Right.
But it's definitely going to be a fest at the IX Center. Big. You think IX Center, you think big. It's going to be something that's memorable. At the end of the day, Guinness Book of World Records, the biggest Halloween party was like 17,777 in New Orleans at the Superdome.
Yeah.
Our goal is by 2025 to beat that record.
No shit.
And the IX Center said they could fit 3 football fields inside the IX Center.
Oh, they can.
So I think by 2025, our goal is to beat that Guinness Book of World Records. So we're going to start it this year in 2022.
Yeah. And honestly, like, I think I told you, I grew up in a city called Twinsburg, and they started something called Wednesdays Fest years ago.
We got so many people coming in. It was like 2-3 weeks ago. It was
right.
like, and so many people came in from Twins Fest to our restaurant dressed alike and stuff like that. It was actually crazy. Yeah, but I guess that when I look at that, like what you're trying to do, that's where I think like this is genius, because you're taking what you're already doing and just kind of creating alternate, no different than this podcast. You're just creating alternate ways to really brand yourself. That's a fact. That's a fact.
That's great stuff to win. So you align yourself with my man Ern Bremer, which that dude, I know he likes to win. Obviously, you're a winner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you guys are winning because you have that mentality. Grew up in Cleveland Heights, et cetera, et cetera. Like, at what point did you, even when you were a kid, like, at what point were you like, I want to be a business? Like, what was there, like a light bulb that went off?
It was always my mom. I grew up in a single mom home.
Me too.
Me and my brother. And it was always like that. You know, they always had dreams as being. I used to sometimes be working a regular job, but I would throw my briefcase out the window and tell my mom I was a businessman and stuff like that. But I was still working a normal job, and it's like I always wanted to be a businessman, be my own boss. Even at the same time, we have a family funeral home in Maple Heights.
Okay.
So that's why I went to school for it, and since the University of Cincinnati to get my degree in mortuary science. But I just decided to working for family is tough.
It's incredibly tough. I have family that works for me here, and there's many, because it's a never-ending struggle of, you got to respect me while you're here, but then sometimes family can give you the brutally honest truth that you may need to hear.
That's a fact.
But I understand that.
So I always kind of had that, like, it's been in the family. You know, we had our own funeral home. It's been successful. It's still doing well. So I always had that, but I always wanted my own.
Right.
And I'm like the organizer of our group. Like, I'm OCD when it comes to organization, calendar, Google Drive.
And
I got all
that
2 screens, 3 screens. That's why I love your office. Your office got like the 2 screens here, another screen here.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's how I operate.
Plug my laptop in and I have 2 up there.
My partners operate off their phone and the laptop here. I was like, I need to sit down and do all this here, my screens here, and I'm the one to get to going. So you know, I just always had that type of, you know what I'm saying, that's just how I was raised by my mom.
Right.
So just to go get it, nothing's gonna be earned, you know what I'm saying? You just gotta go find a way to go get it. So, you know, aligning myself with people like I own now, my partners, Chris, Jeremiah, Ryan, Lenny, you know what I'm saying, Brim on the basketball side.
Yeah.
Everybody in my circle is just about winning and trying to go get it and be successful. So we all have our own destination, but we have our different highways that we get to the same destination to be great at.
Right. And that's the energy that we like hearing about. And the energy I really like hearing about is when, you know, we don't hear enough about positive black men that really, you know, mentor their children into the business. Mm-hmm. We're talking, and you mentioned that your son actually works for a famous artist, and I can let you go into all that.
Yeah, so my son Kylan, they call him K Rich. He works for Lil Baby, one of the hottest rappers out right now, artists out right now.
Right, landslide. And I hear he's cool. I haven't met him yet.
He cool as a fan. Like, he get on when Kylan do come home and just check on the family. Kylan, he always check on Kylan. He been on Unc, what up? You know, he always very down to earth. Very good dude. And that's why I don't mind when Kylan said I'm gonna move out to Atlanta and I'm staying with Baby and stuff like that. I don't mind. I know Baby gonna have his best interest.
Right.
So he started off as Baby's photographer, but now he's kind of like his personal assistant. So right now they on tour on that Chris Brown, One of the Ones tour.
Oh, I didn't even know Chris Brown was on tour.
Yeah, Chris Brown on tour. He's actually the headliner and Baby's the opener. But they kind of alternate back and forth.
I was gonna say that.
And he told Kylan, like, I need you more by my side. So I want you to go find a photographer that goes through you. I don't got to talk to him, none of that stuff. He gonna go through you, and you can be by my side. He can do all the concert stuff, and you do behind the scenes stuff.
Sure.
So now, you know, the kids love him. Baby's kids love Kylan and stuff like that. So my son, he's just a good dude. He got blessed.
Yeah.
Always, you know, Ryan always tell everybody, favor is not fair. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
God's favor ain't fair. So, you know, he's a good dude, man. So I just hope he keep pushing and pushing. But, you know, being in the industry, like we all said earlier in the conversation, that kind of is that nucleus, that olive branch to get you going everywhere else.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. Entertainment.
It's something about the entertainment industry, man.
Yeah, the entertainment hustle is just a different hustle. Like I said, I worked on thisis50.com. Shout out to my man Renee and Nels over there at G Unit and Ozone Magazine, my homegirl JB. The music hustle is just way different. But I did think what I do like hearing is like those stories where you're successful, you're positive, but then your son comes up and just takes what you did, and in theory that's what our parents wanted for us, just scaling up from what they did. And really, to your point, like our barriers to entry are, I'm not gonna say non-existent, but I feel like most of it at this point is like mental stuff. And again, this is why we created the podcast, to really get the positive stuff out there and say, hey man, we're both from Cleveland. We're successful at what we did. We had a musical career, that ran well. But then we have to figure out a different alternative. But a lot of people like to make that excuse. I got to move to here. I got to move to there.
No, you got to do all that. It's all about being a good, solid person. And what's for you is going to be for you. Of course, if God decides to move you certain ways, you follow what He leads. But at the end of the day, you can do a lot of stuff right out of Cleveland.
Right.
Cleveland got a lot of special people from the music, sports. We all know sports, but music, sports, entrepreneurs, whatever. Like Cleveland, of course, naturally, you might want to grow out of the land and go somewhere else. But
no hate on that at all.
If you can create your foundation here, you're something special, man.
Yeah, like a lot of people were, shitting on LeBron when he left again. As a Cavs fan, you want to be that way, but
it's a business.
It's a business. You know what I'm saying? I saw
his money probably tripled going to LA.
Right
here, all the stuff that he could do out of LA, being right there and practice, then go shoot a movie thing real quick. You can't do that shit here in Cleveland.
No, you can't do that. But you look what he did with Mav and like Rich and all that. Yeah. It's like he's a powerhouse in himself, but he also, I think that barbershop thing was a great idea. Some of the movies and stuff he's doing. So like, it's like,
opportunities.
Yeah, the opportunities like different. But that he wants to eventually come back home, which I think is great. He's got his foundation in Akron. He still is actively involved. So,
he definitely did what most men want to do, is make sure that the homies and make sure that the people that care about him the most is put on. And he didn't necessarily just say, here goes some money and go. He gave them opportunities to go be great on their own, be their own bosses, and that's what Mav and Rich, even the other four horsemen, Randy. I mean, he's doing it also. Even though you see him around LeBron a lot, but he's doing the whole management side for LeBron. So they all got their own lane, and you got Romeo and Drew and all them still doing their own thing, but they're all successful from the olive branch of LeBron James. So
Rome's my guy.
It's amazing
from back in the day, because I went to Kent, he went to Akron. I don't know, he was just always my guy.
Battles.
Yeah. He was always my guy, and like you said, the Four Horsemen. The crazy thing is, it's like we're all intertwined. I remember LeBron when he first signed his, I think it was like his first contract. He pulled up in the Hummer to one of our fraternity brothers, OD. At a Kappa party.
That's the Kappa. Okay, they had the OD. Yep.
Yeah. So he pulls. So it's just crazy how like we're all like indirectly intertwined, like
some kind of way.
Yeah. But you mentioned your god brother Ryan Wolf, and like I literally started DJing with Efeezy in his mom's back room when we were 15 years old. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's crazy like how we're all kind of.
So when you was at Chanel, was Bam before you or after you?
Bam was with me. Yeah.
Bam was with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bam, Brian
Swift was there too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Before
Larry.
he went to Warrensville.
Yeah, they all. So this kind of, I love those guys, but this made me mad. They all leave and go back to Warrensville. Now I probably couldn't have got into Warrensville anyway, because I didn't have any relatives that lived there, nothing like that. And they all go to States, and I'm like, damn, that was the whole fucking team I played with. Yeah. And we were trying to get Eric, because Eric was at Solon at the time, Efeezy. We were trying to get him over to Chanel with us. Like, we played in summer leagues together, all that stuff. I played with Jay Newt. Shout out to my man Jay Newt. I'm trying to think who else. What else would you know? My man Steve Cargyle, I think.
Yeah, Steve Cargyle. I know Steve.
Yeah. So my man Jaron, he was I think he served as strategist to Donald Trump's organization when he was actually in office. There's just so many people that came out of Cleveland, you know what I'm saying, from that era that are wildly successful. So when you start mentioning those names, I get a little hype. So
yeah, that was the. It's gotten back a little bit in the old basketball, but that's when in the old basketball, you had your Dane Stringer and Jamal Harris and all that time. But then then you had that run with all you guys and J.K. Brooks and all that stuff. That run, that's when like basketball used to just. Friday nights you was going anywhere just
everywhere.
And Warrensville was one of the most litest places to go.
Right. Yeah.
But he was going everywhere to see just some good basketball at that time. So hopefully we get it back now. Social media just jacked up these kids, and it's bad, man.
The only kid I saw really getting it was Lil Meech. You know what I'm saying?
Meech get busy, and you got to watch out for. Sonny's son. Lil
Okay,
Marcus.
I heard that too.
Problem.
Yeah, I haven't seen him play, but I'm trying to think if there's anybody.
And you know, Brum seen him play out in Vegas this summer. Brum called me like, "Yo, Dre, that boy good." Because you only see a lot of highlights.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But the way he controlled, Brum said the way he controlled the game and everything, he said that boy gonna be good.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We're gonna be good over at Heights this year. We got a lot of good guards. We finally went to one districts out of like 19 years.
Okay.
Last year. So we got a lot of our core returning.
Okay, gotcha.
So like our guard play is crazy. We got like 4 good ones.
So you're coaching, you're running this restaurant, there are other stuff going on in sports.
And then being a husband and a father at the same time.
And a father, you got the father call before we even started this, and you know what I'm saying? I was like, man, this man is like, I don't have any kids, I'm not married. I mean, hopefully one day. But I mean, that's you're doing all kind of stuff. If you could give people one piece of advice on how to get started, or like I said, younger generation, what would that advice be to getting started in general?
Follow your gut, no matter what nobody says, and I would say that a testament to just our most recent endeavor. Everybody told us, circling back real quick, don't do that restaurant. Y'all, we're in the pandemic. Nobody's succeeding.
It takes massive balls to do that.
Don't do it. And now look at us, because we had a dream and this is what we wanted to do.
Right.
And at the end of the day, you're gonna either say, "Dag, I could have did it," and look what it could have been, or you're gonna say, "Look what I did do." Or some things, don't be scared to fail, because fail is nothing but a lesson. You know what I'm saying? You learn from it and you just get back up and you figure it out again. So go with your gut, go with your vision. And if you feel strong about the vision and you feel like it's something that you want to do, put all the energy into it and just do it. No matter what, mom, dad, husband, wife, just do it. And then you live with the results from it, and you learn from either the good or the bad. You learn from it and make it a lesson. That's all I tell anybody.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do what I'm pray about it. I always pray about it. But when you pray about it and you feel like it's leading you to do the right thing, just do it, no matter what. And if it don't work out, you learn from it.
Yeah, and I mean, to piggyback on really that, I mean, I also feel like, a lot of, back in the day, especially when we were coming up, like Cleveland had a lot of dog-eat-dog people Cleveland people, they would just do whatever to like get at each other. But then, like you mentioned, there came that period of time where we just all uplifted, and we're still all here, you know what I'm saying? When you talk about the Four Horsemen, or, Earn and everything he did, or like the Warrensville squad and how they all kind of, but we all, like, if you hit up Ephesians when you go to Miami, he going to look out for you, you know what I'm saying?
That's all the strength.
And I feel that a lot of us, like, work together behind closed doors. So, I mean, I guess the main feedback I could give is, like, never try to burn a bridge, I think that there's plenty of us out here doing different things in different avenues. Like, utilize us as a tool, like even down to this podcast. Like, utilize this as a tool to create that future that you want. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
I'm not gonna hold you too much longer, though. I know that you got the kids coming and took plenty of your time up. If there's any other last shout outs or websites or anything you want to give?
I appreciate first. You got to shout out to OG Lenny Berry, man. Lenny put all this together. Lenny's a great guy, man. He just a shout out to him for being supportive, a backbone for us as young black entrepreneurs.
Amen to that.
He's always just a phone call away, no matter what it is, about business or about. I asked him stuff about relationship, because he's a married man, and he has an entrepreneur. He know how he got the kids, and he know how to maneuver. So I asked him about a lot of stuff. So just shout out to Lenny. But from the restaurant standpoint, make sure you go follow us on all platforms. We're good on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at The Hunted CLE. So that's at TheHaunted CLE. So that's all, man. I appreciate you, Rick.
That's what's up, man. I appreciate you, Andre. And again, big shout out to all those Cleveland just legends that we all kind of like have our own avenues, but we're all still here. And I really do get excited when I see other people successful. And to your future success, I'll be there as many, any way that I could help. And
appreciate you.
Big shout out to Lenny, and appreciate you being on the show, brother.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, my man.